The Vertically Integrated Projects Conference took place on the 30th of March 2016 at 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Lecture Theatre 301 and the Conservatory area on Level 3 of the McCants Building at the University of Strathclyde. The event was opened by the Principal of Strathclyde University, Professor Sir Jim MacDonald, with guest speakers including Mark Ruston from Doosan Babcock and Ed Coyle, the founder of VIP. Vertically Integrated Projects, or VIP, give students for undergraduate through to postgraduate level the opportunity to work with staff in multidisciplinary teams on cutting-edge research and development projects. These projects are overseen by the VIP leads who are members of staff in the university. The principal objective of the event was to offer the students a new learning experience within the VIP construct. In regards to evaluating the success of the event, we decided to focus on two aspects. The first is evaluation against the SMART objectives, and the second is evaluation through feedback forms. Ideally, we would have included evaluation from the stakeholder feedback, but unfortunately this feedback has not been given just yet. When evaluating the event against the objectives, it was apparent that some aspects were met and others not so much. Firstly, we had aimed to attract 180 attendees to the conference. Unfortunately, we didn't meet this target, but reflecting back, having an attendance of 100 people suited the venue quite well. We did have worries about security and flow of the venue, but due to the lower turnout, all attendees were very safe within the venue. Secondly, we aimed to have effective coordination between members of the team, ensuring that tasks were completed. On the whole, this objective was met. This can be shown through the smooth running of the event on the day, with any minor changes being dealt with easily. Thirdly, we aimed to manage the budget effectively. This was done well with all requirements and prices being reasonable. Seeing as there was no set budget, we were at a slight advantage as no compromises had to be made. Fourthly, we wanted to gain stakeholder management skills. This objective was definitely met, with certain individuals having great relationships with the main stakeholders. Each individual was assigned to liaise with different stakeholders, and this worked very well, with stakeholders' needs being met. Lastly, we aim to create a blueprint for future VIP conferences at Strathclyde. We believe we achieved this well, but like any event, there are areas in which we could improve, which will be furthered in our recommendations. If these recommendations are implemented with our proposal, we believe that there is a very strong blueprint for future events management students to follow. We also decided to evaluate the success of the against feedback forms. These feedback forms are filled out by attendees towards the end of the event, with 77 forms being filled out. On a whole, we were aiming for positive feedback, which we do believe we got. With nearly all attendees rating the conference as good or excellent, we believe this reflects well on the project management of the event. One of the areas mentioned numerous times by attendees were the good attitude that staff or events teams had, which reflected well on the work we had put into the event. In regards to negative feedback, the only area of improvement would be the catering. While it was out with our choice, attendees wanted more food options. Furthermore, one area which we had not considered prior to the event was the provision of a cloakroom, which attendees also commented about. With over 90% of attendees stating that they would come again, we believe we ran a successful research conference. As mentioned previously, there are some recommendations we would have for future events management conference teams. The fact that the group consisted of 11 members was slightly problematic, so we would suggest perhaps having a group of 6 to 8 people. This would allow for a more effectively run team. While the venue worked very well on the day, if there were to be more attendees, we would suggest finding a different venue with more space. Catering was also an issue brought up by attendees. For future, we would recommend hiring an outside catering, as this makes the event feel more professional and real. We were also restricted in regards to marketing due to stakeholders only wanting direct email marketing campaigns. In order to increase attendance levels, we would suggest implementing a marketing campaign prior to the event to raise awareness. While the event on the whole was a success, having a run-through prior to the day of the conference would ensure that any potential risks or issues could be considered and actions could be put in place to counteract. The registration page also took over 2 weeks to open, which made signing up to the event quite hard. Perhaps for next time it would be quicker and easier to set up a registration page through a program such as Eventbrite. Lastly, we would suggest releasing the running order in advance to the event. Numerous attendees were unsure how the event would unfold, so by releasing this in advance, attendees will be more prepared for the event. In conclusion, the VIP conference was a great success, with many attendees thoroughly enjoying the event. Recommendations have been made to ensure that following events are even more successful than they were in the VIP Conference 2016.